The last demonstration was like a smaller jug, right? There's a lot of intricate moves and things that I kind of talked about with the technique of shaping a jug, which is kind of part of the review. But sometimes I like to make larger scale pieces for demonstrations because it kind of zooms you in kind of on the movement, the clay. And in this case, it's a pretty large piece of clay, but I'm going to throw it so thick because I'm faceting that it won't be as big as it looks like it's going to be. And I found with those flask faces that I made, that leaving the clay way thicker than I thought really allowed me to flatten them out and getting into really tight kind of flat diamonds for their bodies. And I was still able to get a nice thin wall, actually thinner than I've been able to get in the past, where I haven't gone as thick to begin with or as flat as I did with the diamonds. So there's always like little discoveries going on that help you just realize that this is an inexhaustible process that you really can never get tired of. If you get bored, like I talked about at the beginning of the semester, you're starting to get the same kind of shape over and over, just change a variable. One of the easiest ways to change the variable is to either open up wider or just change scale. Sometimes things happen when you go larger or smaller. So I'm going to make a bowl-like form here and dive in, using my thumb as like a tool here, like a little diving rib, and then my other two fingers and hand and sponge on the back side. The reason I like to use my thumb there is because I'm diving in just to like basically a point. I'm creating a fairly tight point to the curve at the base here of the opening, bowl-like form here, and then that's going to kind of set the tone for the final product, right? It's going to be a taller, narrow-footed bowl. And then I always find that if I round out the inside corner of pieces, before I start bringing them up, I get a lot nicer rim in the end, and the clay doesn't fold over itself and create weird creases and stuff, So if this is round now, it should be good later. So if I wet it, lean in just like we talked about, transfer the body weight. Some of us are still working on that, lean in the body weight, squeeze from the inside, just kind of draw the clay up. And it's really important because we've developed the habit of trying to get our clay thin and are used to it getting thin on the top half first. When we're faceting, we really need to be aware of the thickness of pieces the whole time from the first pull. Starting to think about the rim on this piece. In this case, I'm going to point it to the inside because I'm going to cut through that rim. And I want there to be like a little plane to the inside of the lip when it's all done. Okay. And then one more kind of pull just to even out the thickness. And then kind of ease off and follow through. The top still needs a little adjustment. I want that line to be clean to the outside edge. Point it to the inside. And that's basically it. There's not a whole lot more shaping going on than that. I'll give it a little bit of work with the rib, so that when I cut through it, you catch the whole surface. For me, that's the goal. This inside cleaned out and smoothed out. And I can come over it once with the rib, just to kind of even it out so when you cut, nice pretty straight line. And maybe a little bit more tension on that rim. Smooth out the interior. We're ready for faceting. They're pretty direct pieces to make because of their simplicity, right? Just thinking about that wall thickness is the main thing. All right, so I'll start one side, I'll cut straight, and I'll use my thumbs to set my depth, take a nice clean straight line. I'll do that on the other side as well. In this case, I'm going to make 8-sided pieces, and you'll see why when I pick it up and distort it. watch the interior as you're cutting from the outside, and follow that inside line a little bit if you can. It's beginning to take shape. In learning to do this, there's a good chance you probably cut through at some point, which I do regularly. It's all right. The forms are simple enough that you can make them. Make it again and try it out again. All right, so this piece, I'm not going to distort picking up right off the wheel. I'm going to wait till I set it safely on a bat next to the wheel here. Actually, I can just leave it on that bat. So I'll dry my fingers off.